welcome. My name's Brian Caplen, editor of The Banker. I'm here with Silvia Pavoni, the economics editor. She's just returned from the European Association of Co-operative Banks annual meeting. So Silvia, cooperative banks, they face a lot of challenges just like ordinary banks, particularly regulation. I mean, is that one of the issues that's been discussed at the annual meeting?
That was the main issue actually being discussed. So for these organizations, we tend to be very small inside. We're talking about assets of around 500 million euros, so it's kind of a really small organization. Regulation can have a big impact, especially if it doesn't take into account the particularities of cooperative banks.
Okay, so what do they need in particular then?
So they need the regulator to understand that the risks that they are prepared to take on, for example, are based on what they call a better assessment of the corporate, the business that they're dealing with. So
because they're locally based and they're closer to their clients.
That's right. So that is the mantra of the mutual and cooperative associations. They're closer to the territory, and this is why also politicians like the idea of promoting them since the financial crisis, because there is this, at least in theory, close connection with the local economy.
Okay, but in the UK, I mean, we saw the cooperative bank here, get itself into
they went completely wrong, didn't it?
All kinds of problems, and through making sort of incorrect acquisitions and poor management decisions. So, I mean, was there discussion of what could be learned from the UK experience?
Not really. I mean, that seems to be considered as just a scandal that is confined and not really representative of the whole sector, likely. So.
Okay, but clearly, I mean, obviously the problem with banks at the moment is they're spending so much time on compliance, they hardly have time to do business. Is that the same with the cooperative sector?
It's funny you're saying this because this is exactly one of the points that one of the panelists raised from Federcassa, the Italian Association of Cooperative Banks. And he was saying that his members, the cooperative banks in Italy, can only really hire compliance officers. So they can't really extend the business, and therefore they can't really provide support to the local economy, which is what exactly they should be doing.
All right, but in some senses you can't really blame the regulators. I mean, the distinctive thing about cooperative banks is that because they're locally based, you sometimes do have local political figures on the boards as well as, sort of general bank experts. And there's always a danger that, they make imprudent lending on those conditions. I mean, was that discussed at the conference at all?
They would tell you that they have a better understanding on the local clients, and therefore they're prepared to take on more risks because they actually know really well the business plan and the entrepreneur that is asking for money. So.
Okay, now, I mean, this was obviously the European meeting, but cooperative banking is not just a European experience, is it? So tell us about what's happening in the rest of the world.
Well, Canada actually has quite a big institution or network of cooperatives, Desjardins, and it's pretty widespread and successful. But certain elements are perhaps of concerns are also shared internationally. The one of, for example, actually knowledge of the banking sector, making sure that the management is knowledgeable of the banking sector is probably one of them.
Okay. All right. Well, look, thanks for that update, and we'll watch the cooperative banking sector with interest.